When someone says Texas, we think about the open range and big blue skies. We think about cattle ranches and the piney woods and warm, starlit nights. Texans have always been uniquely connected to the land, whether we come from a sixth-generation ranching family or have a favorite state park we visit every year. The land is our natural heritage, and protecting it ensures a future with clean air, abundant water, and places to play. In 1982, the Texas Land Conservancy was founded by a group of Dallas conservationists dedicated to protecting land for future generations. Led by Edward C. Fritz, the father of Texas conservation, the group set out to save wild lands throughout the state, starting with the East Texas piney woods.
So he always used to say that being outdoors in the forest was something that rejuvenated him, and he loved it. He just really did. He said, if we don't start conserving land, every square inch of Texas is going to be concreted over.
The group wanted to make sure that future generations of Texans would have land protected from the ravages of poorly planned development. The Texas Land Conservancy has honored that legacy by protecting tens of thousands of acres throughout the state. We work with landowners and conservation-minded individuals to craft perpetual conservation agreements. These agreements leave the ownership of a piece of land in the hands of the landowners, while putting the responsibility of protecting the integrity of its natural resources into our hands. Texans are deeply connected to their rural heritage, and because 95% of our land is privately owned, the only way to really make a difference is by partnering with private landowners throughout the state. Each year, more join the effort.
My name is Howard Hicks, and this is the Pike Davis Ranch. And my great-great-grandfather came to Texas from the Tennessee-Kentucky border area in around 1854 with a group of 20 people. And he settled right here within a mile or so of where we are right now.
I'm Joyce Lucas, and we're here on the Burke Summerfeld Heritage Ranch, which has been in my family for 136 years. And owning land has always been extremely important. And I learned that from my parents, my grandparents, and now my grandkids have that as well.
My name is Chuck Snakard, and this is 340 acres that my wife and I purchased in 1994. It's located in Somerville County, about 90 miles southwest of Dallas. The horizon stretches off into the distance, and it is spectacular.
We have two creeks on the ranch. One of them is Davis Creek, named after our family, and the other one is a larger creek that runs the whole length of our place from north to south, and it's called Big Branch. My kids, my boys, started hunting here when they were about 8, and then my daughter was several years younger, and she would watch the boys hunt. And I remember one time the boys had killed deer, and she said, "Dad, when I get big, you get me a gun and a knife?" And I said, "Yes, Ruth, we'll get you one." So she started hunting as well, and she killed one of the biggest deer that we've ever killed here on the ranch. And then now it's my grandchildren that come up here, and so it's another generation that has learned about the heritage and just really loves to come up here.
This ranch is about 444 acres, and part of it's on the Llano River. And that's pretty significant too, because the Llano is one of the last remaining wild rivers in the country. And I have spent a lot of time with all of my grandchildren playing in the river. I mean, it's not very deep, but they have had fun, and they also hunt. And it's something for me, keeping the land and protecting it has always been important to me. And I'm really thankful that that seems to be true for my 2 daughters as well as my 3 grandchildren.
When I was young, we moved from the middle of Fort Worth, where I was born, to the far west side. And living out there, we were on kind of the edge of suburbia at that point, and there was cattle grazing across the street, and behind us to the west there was nothing till you got to Weatherford, just rolling prairie. As that development took place, I felt like I'd lost something, and for whatever reason, my entire life I've always felt a connection to the land. And having some place like this where you can come out and you can kind of experience nature, you can get away from the city of Dallas where my wife and I live, and just it's quiet, it's open, you see birds and wildlife that you don't see in the city. It's just it is a wonderfully spiritual feeling.
The land is, like I say, been in our family since 1854, and we would like very much to keep it in our family. We love the land the way it is, the natural state that it's in, the wildlife that are around it, and we'd like to keep it as close to this kind of state as it can. And we've seen a lot of fragmentation of land here in the hill country. It's just not the same as it was, so we'd like to conserve the land somewhat as it is, and a good vehicle for doing that is a conservation easement.
There are kind of two aspects to owning this property, and one is a backward-looking and one is a forward-looking. The backward-looking aspect has to do with the restoration process, trying to get it back to the way that it was before it was plowed and grazed and into some kind of habitat that is good for all the diverse organisms that live out here. And that's a backward-looking thing, trying to go back to where it was. And then there's the forward-looking component where you're trying to keep it that way, preserve it once you've gotten there. And that's what the conservation easement does for me. It provides that aspect of it, making sure that whatever work we put into trying to get this into a more healthy ecosystem continues on after we're gone.
We're inspired by landowners who take such good care of their land, whether they are carefully managing the number of cattle grazing or clearing cedar to make sure streams run fast and clear. These landowners are the real conservation champions of our state, and we are honored to work with them and carry on their stewardship legacy long into the future.
For me, that gives me peace and it gives me assurance that I have done with my piece of property that was just given to me. I know that I've done the right thing.
Anyone with a deep, abiding love of the land that would like to see the land remain open in a natural state, if they don't want to, when they've sold that property or when they have died, if they don't want that property to be a shopping center or apartment complex, the only way that we can assure that that's going to be the case, the only way we're going to preserve any land in Texas is with conservation easements.
For a lot of people who have been ranching for many years or maybe their lifetime, it sounds like they're generally rugged individualists, so to speak, and they don't really want anybody telling them what to do. Well, this is a way that you can specify the way that you would like for your ranch to be run from here on out, and have someone that's going to check to make sure that it's taken good care of. And if you'd like to make sure that that ranch stays in its natural state, and for the wildlife and for livestock, if that's what the person wants to do, and just for the open spaces and the beauty of it, this is a great way to ensure that that's done.
We have made a commitment to the people of Texas to protect their natural heritage forever. With the help of our dedicated volunteers, the generosity of committed donors, and your support, we will work towards a brighter, greener future. To join the Texas Land Conservancy as a member, landowner, or volunteer, go to texaslandconservancy.org or email info@texaslandconservancy.org.